Dream and reality. Dark was the night and weird the atmosphere. It rained from time to time. At the intervals of the mourning of jackals and the roars of thunder could be heard the eerie laughter of spirits. Flashes of lightning showed fearful faces. But King Vikram did not divert a bit. He climbed the tree once again and brought the corpse down. However, as soon as he began crossing the desolate cremation ground with the corpse lying on his shoulder, the vampire that possessed the corpse said, "O king, no doubt you are a man of conscience and courage. But these qualities alone cannot bring success in life. One has to be intelligent too. The pity is, sometimes even conscientious and courageous people conduct themselves like fools. Let me give you an example. Pay attention to my narration. That might bring you some relief." The vampire went on. Once upon a time, there was a prosperous merchant in the city of Patliputra, Dayanand by name. He was once out on a pilgrimage with his family in the company of another couple. The couple got killed in an accident. The couple had a young son named Abhay. Dayanand and his family returned home with Abhay. Abhay lived with them and grew up to be a young man. Abhay was treated with kindness, but his status was that of a servant. Abhay resented this. The young man was ambitious. Often he indulged in daydreams or idle fancies. He imagined that he had become very wealthy and Dayanand stood before him with hands folded. One afternoon, while nobody was near his room, he lay on his bed and spoke as if a dialogue was going on between Dayanand and himself. "O noble young man, be kind to me and accept the hand of my only daughter Shushila in marriage. I shall consider myself the luckiest man in the world if you do so." He spoke aloud, assuming the role of Dayanand. "Well, Dayanand ji, I will consider your request." Abhay had not completed his reply to the imaginary Dayanand when the real Dayanand stepped into his room. The gentleman had just returned from a business meeting and he was in a bad mood. Abhay's audacious words angered him. "Get out of my house," he shouted at Abhay. Abhay felt deeply ashamed. He left the house immediately. Servants of the household laughed at his plight. Leaving the city behind, Abhay entered a forest. After some wandering, he met a hermit. He lived in the hermit's cottage and served him. 3 months passed. "My boy, you're not made for this sort of life. Although you are here, your mind is in the city. You're dreaming of wealth and comfort. Why don't you go and work for the fulfillment of your dreams?" One day the hermit asked Abhay. Abhay shed tears and narrated his misfortune to him. When the hermit sympathized with him, he asked, "Sir, can't you make me so great that Dayanand ji will feel small and humble before me?" "My boy, Dayanand has grown prosperous through sincere labor and concentration in his business. You should also develop such qualities." The hermit's advice disappointed Abhay. "Sir, there is nothing new in what you said. What I expected of you is a boon," he said. The hermit thought over the situation for a moment. Then he said, "Very well, my boy, I will teach you a hymn. Recite it 7 times and concentrate on your desire. The desire shall be fulfilled in a day or two." Abhay was very happy. He got the hymn by heart and prepared to leave the hermitage. The hermit told him at the time of his departure, "My son, man can get what he wants in 2 ways, in a natural way or in an unnatural way. One may achieve something in an unnatural way, but one must suffer the consequences." The hermit added, "The hymn I taught you shall be effective only 3 times, no more." Abhay bowed to the hermit and left for Patliputra. On arrival there after 3 days, he lay down on the veranda of an inn. It was night. He fell asleep and dreamt that Dayanand was offering his daughter to him in marriage. Abhay woke up at midnight and thought, "Why to keep the dream as a dream any longer? I can make it a reality." He recited the hymn 7 times, concentrated on his desire to marry Sushila, and fell asleep once again. It was morning when he was woken up by the music of drums and sehnai. To his surprise, he saw Dayanand accompanied by his friends approaching him. "Forget the past, son, and come home. Our family deity told me last night in a dream that I should offer Sushila in marriage to you. Come, be pleased to ride the horse waiting outside, said Dayanand with humility. Abhay greeted him and did as requested. He was married to Sushila within a week. It was a great time for Abhay. He ate and slept to his heart's content and spent the rest of his time playing cards with friends and enjoying strolls. But one evening he got a shock when he overheard what the servants said among themselves. The chap was one like us till the other day. Now he bosses over us. However, the world knows that he is a good for nothing idler, said one. Another said, we are greater than he, for we work for our livelihood. He does nothing except growing fat. Abhay observed that the servants laugh at him behind him and only make a show of obedience to him. He found the situation intolerable. He told Dayanand, Sir, I want to take up some fruitful work. Very good. Why don't you manage a wing of my business? No, sir. I will like to start a business of my own. All I need is some capital. Take as much as you like, said Dayanand encouragingly. Abhay did not take much, but only enough to start a business in a modest way. At night, he recited the hymn and wished to become the richest merchant in the city. His wish began to fulfill. Every trade he took up yielded him lakhs of rupees. Nobody could understand how it happened, but it just happened. Dayanand was surprised at his son-in-law's fabulous prosperity. Abhay himself was no less surprised. But soon Abhay became the eyesore of all other traders of the city. They envied him. Some of them wielded much influence in the king's court. They poisoned the king's ears against him. One day he was summoned by the king. As soon as he appeared in the court, the king said rudely, Young man, I understand that you began doing trade only a few months ago. Now you seem to be the richest merchant in Patliputra. Some of our merchants who are in business for generations have lost everything by facing you in competition. You have amassed a huge amount of wealth. I give you a week's time. You must explain how you grew so rich and show me all your accounts. Otherwise, you shall forfeit half of your wealth to me. I am sure you are doing some smuggling or are in collusion with bandits. Abhay maintained no accounts, for he did not run his business in the normal way. He went back home without a word. At night he dreamt that he had become the king. He sat up and thought of reciting the hymn and wishing to really become the king of Patliputra. He would not be required to show his accounts to anybody or explain how he became rich. The idea was exciting. He woke up his wife and told her what he thought. She showed no enthusiasm. She just said, Did you not hope that your problems would be over when you became the richest man in Patliputra? Abhay grew grave. He passed the night sleepless. In the morning he met the king and said, Your Majesty, you need not wait for a week. You may forfeit 3/4 of my wealth. My only request is you may spend the money for some good cause. I swear that I have done no smuggling nor have I any connection with any bandit. The king was surprised. Without a word more, Abhay left for the forest. He met the hermit on the third day and said, O blessed soul, I have made use of your boon only twice. I have the power to use it for a third time, but I surrendered the power to you. The hermit smiled and patted him on the back. Sir, I propose to leave Patliputra, but I shall come to meet you from time to time, Abhay said again. Welcome, my boy, welcome. You are really wise, commented the hermit. Back in the city, Abhay sent the promised wealth to the king. With the remaining wealth, he left Patliputra and settled down in a small town. He worked hard and earned well, though not fabulously. He lived a contented life. The vampire paused for a moment and then demanded of King Vikram in a challenging tone, O king, how could Abhay act that foolishly? Why did he give up the opportunity to become the king of Patliputra? Why did he surrender his power to the hermit? And why did he give away a greater part of his wealth to the king? Answer me if you can. Should you keep mum despite of your capacity to answer the questions, your head would roll off your neck. King Vikram answered forthwith. Far from acting foolishly, Abhay acted in wisdom. He had realized what the hermit had said. There were two ways to achieve anything, natural and unnatural. Any success that comes through unnatural ways brings unforeseen problems with it. He became Dayanand's son in law but was laughed at by Dayanand's servants. He became the richest man, but that brought him enemies and the king's suspicion. Had he become a king, some new problems would have disturbed him. Maybe he would have faced an attack from another king or a rebellion from his own subjects. He decided to abandon the unnatural ways of achieving success. He began his life as a normal merchant. He is lucky that his wife did not encourage him to become a king. No sooner had the king concluded his reply than the vampire, along with the corpse, gave him the slip. Please like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Do provide your feedback in the comment section below. Thanks for listening.